सर आगे आपको प्रेजेंट,
एक मिनट, मैं वही देख रहा हूँ प्रेजेंटर आके नहीं। हाँ, शेयर करके आ रहा है।
क्या किया है?
आ रहा है मैडम शेयरिंग?
स्टार्ट नहीं मस्त
हाँ
कीजिए।
मैडम, स्टार्ट किया, आ रहा है क्या स्क्रीन पे? हेलो।
Yes, sir. We can see your present.
विजिबल ना? हाँ मैडम, नाउ यू कैन स्टार्ट। आई एम रेडी।
सर आपको क्या है प्रेजेंटेशन का?
हाँ, प्रेजेंटेशन है ऑलरेडी
सर आप
स्टार्टेड।
शेयर करके देखिए स्क्रीन।
हाँ, स्क्रीन शेयर किया ना।
Madam, screen is visible. Screen is visible. Sir, your screen is visible. Kindly start.
Research. He is a recipient of National Merit Scholarship since 60th edition of B. Further, he received 2 gold medals for being first merit in ME Economics and first merit in MTech exam, while he stood second in the order of merit in MA Public Administrative exam of Nagpur University. Initially, he worked in Godrej, Mumbai, after which he joined Sri Ramdev Baba Engineering College, Nagpur in 1984. He worked there in various capacities like HOD in Industrial Engineering and Management Technology and Vice Principal till April 2008, almost 24 years. Thereafter, he worked at 2 engineering colleges respectively for 4 years each as Vice Principal at Jhulelal Institute of Technology, Nagpur, and as Principal at Nagpur Institute of Technology. He had been visiting faculty in management at IIMT Nagpur. Dr. Gole is a recognized guide for PhD in management as well as in engineering. He has to his credit 4 books and 47 research papers published. Recently, he has been honored with National Award for the Best Paper in Case Study category published in Industrial Engineering Journal. He has also been honored with Best Paper Award at International Conference on Human Resource. Dr. Surendra Gori is highly reputed corporate HR trainer and has conducted more than 300 training programs covering over 4500 corporate participants from industries like L&T, Crompton Greaves, Mahindra & Mahindra, Ultratech Cement, NECO, Raymonds, LIC, WCL, and many more. He is conducting corporate training since last 25 years and has visited several countries like Dubai, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi for attending international education events. Besides this, he has also been awarded with Best Sportsman of VNIT Nagpur and has presented VNIT in 6 games such as athletics, Kho-Kho, Kabaddi, volleyball, and chess. He was elected as Sports Secretary of VNIT and received 3rd prize for acting in one act play competition in Nagpur University. Twice he has successfully completed National Himalayan Trekking Program also. So we have with us a very eminent multi-versatile person with us. I request you, sir, to please start your lecture. He will be speaking on understanding roles and responsibilities of faculty in the university structure, role and responsibilities, teaching, research, and support to local community. I request you, sir, to please start your lecture.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all the participants. I hope I am audible as well as visible.
Yes, you are audible and visible both.
Okay,
Sir.
okay. And my presentation is also on. Hello, my presentation is visible.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah,
Sir.
I'll continue. Today we'll discuss with the concept of role of a teacher. Now, what different roles a teachers are required to fulfill in order to go for their profession. Now, let's see what is the content of today's session. We have given two objectives to the session. First is understanding roles and responsibilities of a faculty in university structure. Now, university structure means we are affiliated colleges or we are in the department of university. And in this university structure, the value addition and the continuous evaluation is being done at the college level, while the value evaluation at the term end is being done by university. So university is responsible for examining the value added by the student and certifying the value added in the student, while institutes and colleges are responsible for actually adding the value. And the second objective of this session will be the roles and responsibilities in different domain. One is in the teaching, other is in the research, and then support to the local community. Now with NAC, what is being emphasized in the NAC is your connectivity with the locality and community around you. Like for being you are educational institution in a particular zone, particular region, whether the locality around you is being benefited by your existence or otherwise is being considered as a crucial thing. So I think with this particular background and a framework, we'll keep our all analysis ready for the discussion. Let's proceed ahead. I would like to call attention of all of you to a famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi. What he is referring to, look at it. Look at it, what he is referring to. Mahatma Gandhi is referring to a customer like a customer is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption on our work. He is the very purpose of it. He is not an outsider on our business. He is a part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. Mahatma Gandhi wrote this in his periodical Harijan way back in 1932 or 1933. Look at its relevance. And what you do, once again we'll read the entire thing, replacing customer by the student. Look, a student is the most important visitor on our premises. He, means student, is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. Student is not an interruption on our work. He is very purpose of it. Student is not an outsider on our business. He is very much part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. Look here, the entire perspective of teacher-student relationship in the institute and colleges will totally change if you look at this particular definition. When we say that, normally we are accustomed, I have been in teaching profession for last over 36 years in engineering education. What we could see, teacher commands the classroom, teacher commands all the student, and teacher expect and he basically demands the respect from the student, and he's accustomed to it. He's accustomed to the situation where all the students are listening to him. Everybody is listening to him. So basically, others are listening and he is to deliver. Now, this particular domain, and you look at the definition by Mahatma Gandhi. He is the most important visitor on our premises. Look here, student, what we consider, he is coming to the college, what for? Because he needs it. He has to take our sign. He has to take our signature on journal. He has some work with us. He want to ask difficulty to us. He is in need and we are providing him a service. So the entire domain of our understanding is that he is in need and we are providing his need. Typically, we find that he is to be given service is no way we consider as our work. Rather, to seek service from us is considered as his requirement and he is seeking that from us. So typically the stance, the overall stance of that we are dependent on him is never reflected in our association. Always it is reflected that he is in need. Second line, he is not dependent on us, we are dependent on him. Look the perspective. The moment we say that we are dependent on him, we'll care for him as a customer. Atiti Devo Bhava. So naturally, the Japanese management says that the visitor is like a god. So student like a god. I'm not saying that we should compromise on the teacher-student relationship. A teacher is always guru for him. So that should be his perspective of looking at teacher. But what should be the perspective of teacher to look at a student? That he is not an interruption on our work. Rather, without him, we cannot proceed with our work. He is the very purpose of it. Our position, our standing, our status, everything is there because students are there. We can see the institutions and colleges where the students are drained and you find all the teachers in the college, they start losing respect. Whether you are strictly visiting, contributory, ad hoc, you are assistant professor, associate professor, professor, HOD, dean, principal, whatever may be your designation. If institution starts draining the students are not coming to the institution, everybody in the institution loses the luster. Why? Because we fail to understand our role. So today we are going to discuss our role as a teacher. So what are the expectation of society from a teacher? What society expects from a teacher? Now let's understand the society expects from the teacher something which is really significant. What society is expecting from us? Society expects the values, virtues, attributes to be inculcated in the students during education. So society expects these things to be done by the college. Now here, society expects that college should take care of it. And what we look at the society, we consider that the values, virtues, attributes, now this is a part where the parents should take care of it. This is basically molding a student, like we call it as a sanskar. Now we say that the sanskar should be taken care of by the parents, and this need not be, we need not bother as a college to take care of this. The process should be smooth, encouraging, and also acceptable with least resistance. Now process should be acceptable with least resistance. Now what do you mean by this? What we understand by this? Like when parents would like to go for inculcating some sanskars among their wards, there is a resistance. There is a resistance, and therefore we find that the wards, they refuse, they retaliate to take any advice or the suggestion by the parents, because the process is not smooth, it's not encouraging, and also not acceptable with the least resistance. Society expects that a teacher should be a role model. So teacher has to be a role model also in the entire process. Suppose we preach something and we practice something different, then perhaps society may or may not accept us. Now with this philosophy, let's see what exactly we are supposed to do. I'm basically trying to narrate some analogy with you, analogy of diet to education. Now, diet could be vegetarian diet, non-vegetarian diet. Some people can survive on fruits, some can only take milk, some can only take eggs, or maybe some consume raw vegetables, some consume roots, stems, etc., or some combination of this, or maybe the different recipes and latest versions of different recipes available, mix of all these things in our kitchen and our diet. What exactly we want from this? We are expecting some different ingredients of our diet. Now, what ingredients are expected from the diet? Our body requires proteins, vitamins, fats, carbohydrates, minerals, etc. Now, all these things our body requires from the diet. Now, look at it. All these ingredients are there in the different diets in different proportion. All these ingredients are there in all the diets in different proportion. But we don't see these ingredients. Like when we chew something, say when we are eating a fruit, apple, we are eating an apple. We don't say that I'm eating this 1 unit of protein from the apple, because the unit of protein in apple are not visible. The vitamins are not visible. Fats, carbohydrate, mineral, these are ingredients and they are not visible when we are eating it. Now, I would like to relate this analogy with the education. When we are taking education, what education we take? We are doing BA, we are doing BCom, we are doing BSc, we are doing BCA, BBA, BE, BTech, medicine, we are doing MBBS, dental course we are doing, law we are doing. So actual education we are taking with respect to different qualification, which are resulting into different qualification. And we say that we are learning this. But in general, all these qualifications, what they are supposed to give you? They are supposed to provide some ingredients. And therefore, our entire attention goes with what ingredients are expected out of the education. Your education could be anything, but minimum ingredients which are required must be provided by the education. Like somebody say that I can survive on fruits, no issues. He can have all types of fruits and fruits could be his diet. We don't object it. So long as all those fruits are able to provide him the desired proportion and content of protein, vitamin, fat, carbohydrates, minerals, the diet only consisting of fruit is also acceptable. Diet only non-veg is acceptable, veg is acceptable, mix is acceptable, any combination is acceptable, so long as the ingredients required by the body are being provided by the diet. Problem comes when we have full diet, a belly full of diet, but it is not able to provide us the ingredient which are expected. That means the inferior type of diet when we have it, then in spite of our belly is full, we say that we are satisfied with our hunger, but our body is not nourished by that. This essentially happens with education. What you have done BCom. From where you have done, how you have done is very significant. As a title goes, you have done BCom. So as a purpose of diet is there to fill the belly, hunger is to be met with. So that is over. But then your body is nourished or not depends on the ingredients which you receive through the diet. So if you have done BCom, wherever the eligibility is there that only BCom can apply, you can definitely apply. But what is the possibility that you will be selected among all depends on what exactly you have learned during BCom and how you have learned BCom, whether the ingredients of education are being given to you or otherwise. And therefore, friends, when we understand the role of a teacher, we must understand what are the different ingredients of education which any qualification is supposed to fulfill. If it is not, then we say that the degree on surface looks alike. However, content wise and conduction wise, they are so different that a BCom of a particular university is preferred and BCom of particular university is not accepted at all. Now, to such extent differences there, this we can witness with MBA. People do MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, maybe Kolkata, Bangalore. People do MBA from other than IIM, the second tier education institution like maybe Symbiosis, Jamnalal Bajaj. We can have the different like institution in Goa. We can have the XLRI, XIM, Xavier Institute of Management. We can have the Gilbert School of Economics. Now, all these institutions may give a management postgraduate degree at a second tier, and then we comes under the various university departments which are giving the thing, and then comes various affiliated colleges which are giving to you. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. Now all of them give some, for example, give some title. Like IIMs give PG diploma in management, let's consider they are equivalent, and let's consider that they are giving same title. Now same MBA is available from all the four tiers of the education, but then we say that IIM is always preferred as compared to any other ordinary college for any university affiliated structure. Now why? That is, belly is full, the hunger is met with, you get an MBA degree. What is the difference? The ingredients which an MBA is supposed to exhibit, he is supposed to imbibe, and as an MBA graduate, postgraduate, he is supposed to exhibit the qualities which are supposed to be imbibed during 2 years. He failed to imbibe them to the extent expected, and therefore the rating of the various institution means basically whether how the quantum of ingredient in the diet in various institution is being served to him. And therefore let us try to understand what are the different ingredients which we are supposed to give during the education. Okay, now when we would like to give different ingredients, typically the course syllabus is being defined by the university, and we say that in this course what we can do. No, it's not like that. The course syllabus which are leading to qualification are also not describing the ingredients of education. Now what are the basic ingredients of education? Don't you think that after getting education, an undergraduate degree, postgraduate degree, or doctoral degree, a person should have a higher level of maturity? Yes, maturity is an expected ingredient of education. But maturity apparently is not taught in any course, not taught in any qualification. Apparently, we don't conduct it. Just like the proteins we don't eat, we eat fruit, and inside the fruit, the protein is there. But there are some fruits where negligible quantum of protein is there. If we keep on consuming them, then the credit of getting adequate protein will not be available to us. Therefore, qualification may not ensure that you have a adequate maturity. On a lighter side, many people say that qualifications sometimes they are ornaments and which beautify our personality, but sometimes they become burden and we are unable to carry them. अगर मान लो कोई एक व्यक्ति कहता है, एक नवयुवक से कहता है, तुम्हें अकल नहीं है, तुम बिल्कुल गधे हो, अपने आप को बीकॉम कहलाते हो, साथ ही एप्लीकेशन लिखना नहीं आता। अभी क्या है, बीकॉम से सोसाइटी की एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि उसने एप्लीकेशन लिखना आना चाहिए उसको। बीकॉम है फिर भी एप्लीकेशन लिखना नहीं आता है। अब ये बच्चा किस मुंह से कहेगा कि सर मैं बीकॉम नहीं हूं, मैं एमकॉम हूं। यहां बीकॉम की इज्जत उतर रही है, बीकॉम के कपड़े उतर रहे हैं, तो किस मुंह से कहेगा कि मैं एमकॉम हूं? इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? बीकॉम व्हाट ही इज सपोज्ड टू जस्टिफाई, ही इज नॉट एबल टू जस्टिफाई बीकॉम इटसेल्फ. How he can justify the higher degree MCom, and therefore he better not mention that degree, or he shy in describing and mentioning that degree. तो ऐसे ornament का क्या फायदा जो हम वेयर नहीं कर सकते, हम पहन नहीं सकते। अगर वो ornament हम मान लो हम अपने बदन पे रखते हैं तो लोग ornament की तारीफ करेंगे, बदन की तो करेंगे नहीं, और कोई नहीं कहेगा कि ornament की वजह से आपका शरीर और सुंदर दिख रहा है। लोग तो कहेंगे ornament ही अच्छे दिख रहे, हालांकि अगर अच्छे शरीर पे होते तो और मजा आता। तो इसका मतलब क्या हो गया कि हमारी बेसिक पर्सनालिटी तो यहाँ लोग क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे हैं, और क्वालिफिकेशन हमारा एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं। भाई हम ग्रेजुएट है, बीकॉम है, हाँ यू आर ग्रेजुएट, यू आर एंटाइटल्ड टू अपीयर फॉर IAS एग्जाम, यू आर एंटाइटल्ड टू अपीयर फॉर द MBA एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशन, यू आर एंटाइटल्ड टू अपीयर फॉर ऑल द थिंग। बट देन ये सारी चीजें आपको क्वालिफिकेशन दे नहीं पाया, क्योंकि what is expected out of education that it should be able to give the adequate level of maturity to you. Now it is expected that any education should be able to give you the proper ability to communicate. You should be able to communicate with the people and the society at large. Now if you are not able to have a higher communication abilities, people say your education is not proper. That means कौन से यूनिवर्सिटी से आपने ग्रेजुएशन किया, कौन से कॉलेज से ग्रेजुएशन किया, आपको सादी बात करना नहीं आ रहा है। एक सादा क्वेश्चन पूछा आपको कि डिस्क्राइब योरसेल्फ, टेल मी समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ, यू आर नॉट एबल टू स्पीक 5 lines on yourself. What type of graduation you have got it? What type of qualification you got it? Now अभी देखिए कि कितने सारे ग्रेजुएशन में पब्लिक स्पीकिंग सिखाया नहीं जाता है, कम्युनिकेशन स्किल सिखाया नहीं जाता है, अदब सिखाई नहीं जाती है, पोलाइटनेस सिखाया नहीं जाता है। बट क्वालिफिकेशन में ये हम इनबिल्ट मानते हैं कि भाई ये इंग्रेडिएंट होना चाहिए क्वालिफिकेशन का। दैट मीन्स एनी क्वालिफिकेशन must have maturity. A maturity should be reflected in qualification. Communication skill should be reflected in qualification. एजुकेशन के तहत विजडम आना चाहिए, इंटेलिजेंस आना चाहिए, अच्छी एप्टीट्यूड आनी चाहिए, उसकी बौद्धिक क्षमता बढ़नी चाहिए उसके अंदर. एजुकेशन के तहत सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी आना चाहिए. Everybody is self-centered. Now, if he continues to be self-centered, then what molding and changes were expected out of education? By getting educated, a student should become more sensitive to the society. He should not remain self-centered. He should take care of the society around him. That's the purpose of education. But then, specifically, it is normally not taught in most of the graduation. So, social responsibility is not there. He should be flexible and adaptable. Now, student ne rigid nahi hona chahiye. He should not remain really rigid about something. He should be ready to accommodate others' opinion, and he should be ready to flexibly mold himself. ये flexibility और adaptability अगर व्यक्ति में नहीं है तो क्या फायदा ग्रेजुएशन का. लेकिन फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी और अडेप्टेबिलिटी किसी भी कोर्स में, किसी भी सब्जेक्ट में टाइम टेबल लगा के सिखाते नहीं है और परीक्षा में ना एक क्वेश्चन पूछते इस चीज का. That means these are the ingredients of diet. These are not visible from the diet. However, they are supposed to be inside the diet. ये सारे गुण हम एजुकेशन से अपेक्षा करते हैं, लेकिन किसी भी एजुकेशन में ना तो इनकी एग्जाम ली जाती है, ना तो इसका टाइम टेबल बना के इसको फॉर्मल स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे में पढ़ाया जाता है. So these are the qualities which an education should come out, that his cooperation skills should be more, his coordination skills should be more, his leadership should be more, communication should be of higher level, his convincing skills should increase, his influencing skill, his mesmerizing skills should increase, he should be more powerful, impactful, and he should be able to influence many people. Typically, why? Because this is all expected out of education. Now, should I hereafter call these are ingredients of education? This is expected. Now, these ingredients you can get through BCom, or you can get through BA, or you can get through BSc, or MBA, or BTech, or BE, or MBBS, or law, by anything. You learn any subject. If you get all these ingredients, then you are at par with each other, and we can call you as a graduate. Otherwise, tell me, if these aspects are removed, then what is common in a BA history and a BE mechanical? Nothing is common. We learn 40 subjects, but not a single subject is learned by a person who has done BE history, psychology, and sociology. What a person who has learned BA history, psychology, sociology has learned, we as a BE mechanical, we don't learn a single subject. Perfect. Both the students have learned different subjects, set of subjects. Then how they qualify to call themselves as graduate? All of them are called as graduate, and we say that only graduates can apply. That means we have some minimum expectation out of a graduate. Now, these ingredients which qualify a person to become a graduate, definitely these ingredients are to be given to him. And if they are available, then he can be calling himself as graduate. Typically, we find that all these ingredients are never deliberately taught in any qualification, are never deliberately given to a student in a prescribed timetable, or not a single exam is trying to test his knowledge in that. However, it is expected that he must have learned it. Rather, it is reading between the lines. What we teach to the students are lines. What he is supposed to learn is between the lines. It reminds me a song from the old film. नजर मिली भी न थी और उनको देख लिया, जुबां खुली भी न थी, जुबां खुली भी न थी और बात भी कर ली, मिले न फूल तो कांटों से दोस्ती कर ली. क्या मतलब है गाने का? देखो क्या कहता है कवि. नजर मिली भी न थी और उनको देख लिया, जुबां खुली भी न थी और बात भी कर ली. मानो मतलब आंखों से उसे देखा नहीं तो मन की आंखों से उसे देखा, जुबां से कुछ बात कही नहीं तो मन की जुबां से बात कही. Now this is precisely reading between the lines. लाइन में स्पेसिफिकली कुछ लिखा होता है और दो लाइन के बीच में कुछ भी नहीं लिखा होता है. लेकिन आप अगर दो लाइन के बीच का पढ़ सकते हो तो आप एजुकेशन के इंग्रेडिएंट्स को पढ़ सकते हो. एजुकेशन में जो डेलिबरेटली पढ़ाया वो तो क्वालिफिकेशन आपको दिलवाएगा, लेकिन जो उसके क्वालिफिकेशन के सब्जेक्ट के द्वारा आपने लर्न करना एक्सपेक्टेड है, टीचर ने पढ़ाया नहीं आपको लेकिन आपने लर्न किया है, उसे कहते हैं इंग्रेडिएंट्स ऑफ एजुकेशन. A student should basically try to understand and accept the ingredients of education, and we here are the teacher who are supposed to give him the ingredients of the education. Many times our principal, our HOD, they tell us complete the syllabus. So what we do, we try to complete all the components and content of the syllabus. We deliver all informative details of the syllabus. तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, एजुकेशन के तहत का सारी चीजें उनको दे रहे हैं, लेकिन हम इंश्योर नहीं कर रहे कि उसके तहत इंग्रेडिएंट जा रहे हैं या हम निकृष्ट उन्हें सर्व कर रहे हैं. उत्कृष्ट सर्व करने की जगह निकृष्ट सर्व कर रहे हैं. हालांकि स्टफ तो उनको मिल गया, एजुकेशन हमने किया, ऐसा दावा कर सकते हैं. HOD प्रिंसिपल्स खुश हो जाएंगे, स्टूडेंट को मार्क्स अच्छे मिलेंगे, वो भी खुश हो जाएंगे. लेकिन सोसाइटी इज एक्सपेक्टिंग समथिंग फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट एट द एंड ऑफ ग्रेजुएशन, एंड सोसाइटी विल नॉट बी हैप्पी. दे से दैट क्या ग्रेजुएट प्रोड्यूस किया आपने, ये सादी ये चीज नहीं आती, वो चीज नहीं आती, अकल नहीं चलती, ट्यूबलाइट जैसा दिमाग है, रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन नहीं है. Reflex action should be increased. The presence of mind of the student should be higher one. The reflex action should be smarter one. Now, these things are expected out of education. Now, in order to give this, let's once again go back to the role of a teacher. Before I discuss another analogy of a patient to the student, just understand, now all these things, many of you will say that these are to be covered in the syllabus of the parent, and parent and grandparents in their respective homes and houses, they are supposed to inculcate all these values and all these virtues into their respective wards, and this is their job. This is not our job. While parents, they are both working, so what they expect, that these values and virtues are to be inculcated at the educational institution, maybe school or maybe junior college or maybe senior college. But society at large expect that as a graduate, either the parent, grandparent must have taught them or teachers must have taught them. Resultantly, if a graduate doesn't have these ingredients of education, he is considered a graduate of poor quality. I'll give another thing, like for example, बहुत बार आपने सुना होगा, पेरेंट टीचर मीट में भी सुना होगा, बच्चे की माँ के कहती है, टीचर आप उसे समझाइए, ये मेरी बात तो मानता ही नहीं है, ये टीचर की बात मानता है. That means you understand, he is ready to listen to the teacher, while he is not ready to listen to his parent. उनको लगता है पेरेंट तो बचपन से बोलते रहते हैं, ऐसा करो, ऐसा करो, ऐसा मत करो, ऐसा मत करो. That means his acceptability of advice of the parent is lesser, poorer, but his acceptability of advice of teacher is better. I'll give now analogy of a patient to the student. I'll just check it. Yes. Look here, एक अत्यवस्थ आईसीयू में एक रुग्ण एडमिट किया हुआ है और उसको दिन में सवेरे 8, दोपहर में 8, रात को 8 इंजेक्शन लेने पड़ रहे हैं. सो पेशेंट में रेजिस्ट फ्रीक्वेंट प्रिकिंग फॉर द इंजेक्शन. कहते हैं उसके हाथों में ऊपर जो है, दोनों हाथों में, फिर उसके थाइस पे देते हैं इंजेक्शन. इतने सारे प्रिकिंग हो चुके हैं कि वहां जगह नहीं मिल रही डॉक्टर और नर्स को वहां इंजेक्शन कहां करें. एंड एवरी टाइम द इंजेक्शन इज बीइंग गिवन टू हिम, it penetrates the skin and definitely it gives trouble to the patient, and patient is unhappy with it, isn't it? Similarly, when we give advice, parent give advice, everybody gives advice, the elder brother, sister give advice, the neighbors give advice, the relative give advice, all the advices which are given to the student in order to inculcate values and the virtues in him by anybody, student resists. Just like a patient resists the injection because it pricks, student also resists all these advices because it pricks. It criticizes the student, and student resists this. He doesn't want criticism, and therefore he is not interested in listening to the advice. He keeps his deaf ear in front of that. One prick for applying saline tube to the patient wrist, and the rest injections in the saline bottle. तो डॉक्टर लोग क्या करते पता है, उसे एक बार हाथ में सलाइन लगा देते, सलाइन की एक बार उसको निडल लग गई तो एक बार प्रिक हो गया और सलाइन लगा दिया, उसको फिक्स कर दिया। सलाइन के बॉटल से बूंद बाय बूंद सलाइन आ रहा है और नर्स और डॉक्टर क्या करते हैं उसके बाद में पता है, जितने सारे इंजेक्शन सलाइन में दे सकते वो सलाइन की बॉटल को प्रिक करते और वहां इंजेक्शन दे देते। बूंद बूंद करके सलाइन का सारा जितना इंजेक्शन का जो लिक्विड है वो तो ये पेशेंट के बदन में चला जाता है, लेकिन आराम से बदन में पूरा लिक्विड जाने के बावजूद उसको प्रिकिंग नहीं होता बार बार, उसको चुभन नहीं होती बार बार, वो रेजिस्ट नहीं करता क्योंकि चुभन नहीं हो रही है, लेकिन लिक्विड तो उसके बदन में गया। जो कार्य डॉक्टर को करना है वो डॉक्टर ने तो कर दिया कार्य, लेकिन बिना तकलीफ दिए। हमें भी ऐसा ही कार्य करना है, स्टूडेंट को बिना तकलीफ दिए। स्टूडेंट को जैसे मान लो लड़का एडमिशन के लिए स्कूल में आता है, कॉलेज में आता है, हो सकता है पहली बार स्कूल में जब डालेंगे तो रेजिस्टेंस टू एडमिशन टू स्कूल में बी देयर फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम। However, least resistance is there for receiving any input during education. बच्चा खुद होकर कहता है मुझे एडमिशन दो, पेरेंट्स को कहता है मुझे फलाने स्कूल में एडमिशन लेनी है, तो बच्चा अपने पेरेंट के साथ स्कूल में आता है, हेडमास्टर को बोलता है मुझे यहाँ एडमिशन चाहिए, वो फॉर्म भरो बोलता है तो चुपचाप फॉर्म भरता है पूरा, उसके पेरेंट पैसे भरते हैं। इसको मैं जोड़ता हूं, पेशेंट हाथ सामने कर रहा है डॉक्टर के और कह रहा है लगाइए सलाइन, स्टूडेंट फॉर्म भर के कह रहा है ये गिव एडमिशन। इसका मतलब विलिंगली कर रहा है ये चीजें क्योंकि उसको चुभन नहीं हो रही इसकी, उसको पता है मेरे को बार बार इंजेक्शन नहीं देने पड़ेंगे या लगवाने नहीं पड़ेंगे। अब एक बार 3 साल के ग्रेजुएशन के लिए, 4 साल के ग्रेजुएशन के लिए उसने एडमिशन ले लिया तो मैं समझ रहा हूं सलाइन की बॉटल लग गई। अब इसके बाद सारे टीचर आते हैं और अपने अपने पीरियड में कुछ ना कुछ उनको पेल के जाते हैं एडवाइस, ये सब इंजेक्शन है, ये सारे एडवाइस उसको देके जा रहे हैं, लेकिन बच्चा रेजिस्ट नहीं करता है क्योंकि इंजेक्शन सलाइन बॉटल के थ्रू आ रहे हैं। ये सिलेबस पढ़ाते पढ़ाते धीरे से दी हुई सीख है, उसे पता भी नहीं चलता ये सिलेबस के अंदर का पार्ट है या टीचर अपनी मन की लगा रहा है। Typically, all the advices are received because they are given in a saline bottle. He preferred, he opted, he took interest in taking admission into the school or the college. He wants a qualification and education from that college. He has willingly come. So he will attend all the classes and all the periods. When he is attending the classes and period, can we increase his reflex action? Can we increase his presence of mind? Can we increase his communication ability? Can we conduct the class in such a way we can make one student, please stand up. Now tell what you understood. वो बोलने लगेगा, बोलते बोलते उसकी कम्युनिकेशन एबिलिटी बढ़ेगी। पता चला किसी अच्छे बोलने वाले स्टूडेंट को सामने बुलाइए, उसको बताइए कि मैंने कल के पीरियड में क्या पढ़ाया, वो बोल के देखेगा, वो अच्छा स्टूडेंट है और कम्युनिकेशन स्किल अच्छा है तो बढ़िया बोलेगा। इससे बाकी लोगों के मन में स्पर्धा निर्माण होगी, चलो यार यही कैसे अच्छा बोल रहा, मुझे भी अच्छा बोलना आना चाहिए। देखते देखते पूरे पीरियड में कंडक्शन हो रहा है सब्जेक्ट का सिलेबस, लेकिन कंडक्शन का तरीका आपने ऐसा बदल दिया कि धीरे से उसका कम्युनिकेशन स्किल भी बढ़ गया। तो जो कम्युनिकेशन स्किल वाला इंजेक्शन है आपने नॉर्मल सिलेबस के कंटेंट में सलाइन के अंदर दे दिया उसको, तो उसकी कम्युनिकेशन एबिलिटी बढ़ेगी, उसकी मैच्योरिटी बढ़ेगी, उसको मेक देम थिंक। नाउ व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ करंट एजुकेशन, लेट मी शेयर विथ यू। करंट एजुकेशन मेक द पर्सन full of information. What we check in the examination at the end, we check whether he has learned the thing what you have taught to him. What thing we have taught him, we have given him information. Whether he is keeping the information in his mind, whether he is able to hold it till examination, and whether he is able to retrieve it during the examination. तो हम कहते हैं बहुत होशियार है, बहुत इंटेलिजेंट है। हम क्या उसका इंटेलिजेंस चेक कर रहे हैं, हम तो उसकी मेमोरी चेक कर रहे हैं। हालांकि इंटेलिजेंस उसे कहते हैं जो मैच्योरिटी पे रहता है, he has to apply his mind and then it is considered as maturity. बच्चे की मैच्योरिटी ये किस पे निर्भर करती है, whether he has an opinion on issue. अपनी पूरी एजुकेशन सिस्टम केजी से पीजी ये दुनिया भर की इंफॉर्मेशन बच्चे को देती है, लेकिन वो बच्चे को सोचने पे मजबूर नहीं करती। His ability to think, we never challenge, we never make him think on things. That therefore, बच्चे के पास, ग्रेजुएट के पास में जबरदस्त इंफॉर्मेशन है, अगर नहीं है तो वो गूगल में देख के आपको बता सकता है। सो ही इज हैविंग कैच, he is possessing the information either in the brain or in the Google. He can retrieve it as and when you ask him. प्रॉब्लम कहां होता है, वी फेल टू इनकलकेट हिज एबिलिटी ऑफ ओपिनियन फॉर्मेशन। बच्चे को कहा तेरा ओपिनियन बता, तुझे क्या लगता है इस विषय पे, तो कहता है मेरा ओपिनियन कुछ नहीं, हमारे टीचर ये कह रहे थे, मेरे पिताजी वो कह रहे थे। ही कैन शेयर विथ यू द अदर्स ओपिनियन but he doesn't have his opinion. So opinion formation is the major thing which is missing in our education system. Why? Because we never allow the student to make his opinion. If he is compelled to make his opinion, like for example, what is capital of India? He will raise the hand and he will answer, Sir, New Delhi is the capital of India. Friends, this is called as information. अगर हम उसे पूछेंगे कि न्यू दिल्ली क्यों है कैपिटल, न्यू दिल्ली होना चाहिए कि कैपिटल, तुम्हारा ओपिनियन बताओ, तुम्हारे हिसाब से कौन सी होनी चाहिए कैपिटल? न्यू दिल्ली ठीक है या कोई दूसरी अच्छी रहेंगी? डू वी चैलेंज हिम टू थिंक ऑन द इश्यू एंड एक्सप्रेस हिज ओपिनियन एंड रिसीव अदर्स ओपिनियन? कहीं ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग करवाते हैं हम उसका? नहीं करवाते, तो उसका ओपिनियन फॉर्मेशन रह जाता है। अब ओपिनियन उसको फॉर्मेशन नहीं आता है तो उसका डिसीजन मेकिंग कच्चा हो जाता है। सारे डिसीजन इंफॉर्मेशन पे थोड़ी लिए जाते हैं, इंफॉर्मेशन का हम वापर करते हैं और हमारे मन के अंदर का जो विवेक है, जो विजडम है, उसका यूज करके हमारे ओपिनियन फॉर्मेशन के ऊपर हम लॉजिक लगा के डिसीजन मेकिंग करते हैं। ना तो उसका लॉजिकल थिंकिंग, एनालिटिकल एबिलिटी हम बढ़ाते हैं, विच इज ऑल्सो इंग्रेडिएंट ऑफ एजुकेशन। उसका हम इंफॉर्मेशन से लाद रहे, यूजी हो गया, पीजी हो गया, पीएचडी हो गया, और इंफॉर्मेशन उसके ऊपर लाद रहे, ना तो वो रिटेन कर पा रहा, ना तो रिट्रीव कर पा रहा, ना तो कभी अप्लाई कर पा रहा। तो एजुकेशन ये खोखला क्यों होते जा रहा है? हम बुद्धि के जगह मेमोरी का वापर कर रहे हैं, हम इंटेलेक्ट के जगह मेमोरी का वापर कर रहे हैं, बुद्धि के जगह स्मृति का वापर कर रहे हैं। कहीं ना कहीं हमें बुद्धि का वापर करने के लिए उनको मजबूर करना चाहिए। और देखिए, जैसे मैंने कहा, जितना रेजिस्ट वो किसी भी संस्कारों के लिए पेरेंट्स को करते हैं बच्चे, उसके 10% भी रेजिस्ट नहीं करते टीचर को, क्योंकि टीचर जो भी एडवाइस दे रहे हैं वो एक टाइम टेबल के तहत दे रहे हैं, एक सिलेबस के तहत दे रहे हैं, एक रचना के तहत दे रहे हैं, स्ट्रक्चर के तहत दे रहे हैं, जो स्ट्रक्चर में उसने खुद होके एडमिशन लिए। जैसे मैंने कहा, पेशेंट ने सलाइन खुद होके लगा लिया है और बाकी सारे इंजेक्शन आपके सलाइन के बोतल में चल रहे हैं, बाकी सारे आपके एडवाइस अलोंग द पीरियड चल रहे हैं, पीरियड के सिलेबस के साथ साथ चल रहे हैं। तो एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी इज मोर। आई विल गो बैक टू द प्रीवियस स्लाइड्स। Look here. Values, virtues, and attributes to be inculcated in the student during education, accepted. Process should be smooth, encouraging, and also acceptable with least resistance. ये सारी प्रोसेस अगर पेरेंट्स घर में करने जाएंगे ना तो वो स्मूथ नहीं होती, एनकरेजिंग तो बिल्कुल नहीं होती, बच्चा खड़ा ही नहीं रहता है माँ बाप के सामने, एंड एक्सेप्टेबल विथ लीस्ट रेजिस्टेंस नहीं होती, वो बहुत रेजिस्ट करता है चीज को। फिर से माँ तेरा शुरू हो गया यही चीज, कितने बार मुझे बता चुके ऐसा करो वैसा करो, ऐसा मत करो वैसा मत करो, सवेरे जल्दी उठना चाहिए, कितने बार बोल चुकी, मैं समझ गया, अभी मेरे को जब उठना है तब उठूंगा मैं। इसका मतलब माँ बाप जो बोल रहे हैं वो एडवाइसेस रिडंडेंट है, माय बॉडी शुड नॉट अलाउ दोज इंजेक्शन, ये धारणा उसकी हो जाती। लेकिन टीचर वही एडवाइस देते क्लास में तो वो उसको लगता है एक्सेप्टेबल है करके, तो टीचर का रोल बढ़ जाता है, एंड टीचर हिमसेल्फ शुड बिकम रोल मॉडल। अगर टीचर ने क्लास में कह दिया कि दोस्तों देखो, मैं सूरज उगने के पहले रोज 5:30 बजे 5 बजे उठ जाता हूँ, सवेरे सवेरे तैयारी कर लेता हूँ, फ्रेश लगता है, हवा अच्छी रहती है। टीचर अपना अनुभव बच्चों के साथ शेयर कर रहा है, उनको कुछ नहीं बता रहा है, बच्चों कल से सवेरे उठना, ऐसा बता भी नहीं रहा है, देयर इज नो एडवाइस इन दिस थिंग, ही इज ट्राइंग टू पुट फोर्थ हिज मॉडल, एंड टीचर्स आर नॉर्मली रोल मॉडल फॉर द स्टूडेंट, दे शुड बी rather. So natural imbibing or imitating the teacher style normally occurs, and therefore this thing is an opportunity for a teacher as compared to the parents. I'll go back to the analogy, and then it has been said that every human interaction enriches both the speaker as well as the listener. Now, communication is an art if it is carried out with a purpose and direction, and with a love and affection. It can really integrate the human race. Effective communication with selfless motive can change the society, mold the individuals, and fulfill the objective of education. एक चाणक्य था, उसने कहा था कि आज का राजा, आज की सत्ता अगर अंध हो गई है, अन्यायकारी हो गई है, तो एक टीचर की जिम्मेदारी है वो सत्ता का अपने सत्तांतर करना है और एक अच्छी न्यायप्रिय सत्ता वहां लानी है। हालांकि ये सत्ता नहीं आने के बाद में वो सत्ता का खुद पर्सनल लाभ नहीं लेना है। लुक हियर, लाइक इट शुड बी विद द सेल्फलेस मोटिव। Effective communication with selfless motive can change the society and mold the individuals and fulfill the objective of education. Now, these are to be done by the love and affection. Now, if this framework is available, all these can be used in a teaching component of a teacher. Now, I'll come to the last slide later on. Prior to this, I'll come to a role of a teacher as we are a university teacher. What happens? स्टूडेंट में ये वैल्यू एडिशन हो रही है, उसे पता ही नहीं होता मुझे वैल्यूएशन हो रही, क्या हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, सब्जेक्ट मुझे समझा नहीं समझा. So he is to be tested periodically, and at the term end he should be tested by the university. Now if testing is fair enough, perhaps he develop the confidence on the system as well as confidence on himself. ऐसा कहा जाता है कि पेपर सेट करते समय कभी like as a university teacher we are having a different role. We are supposed to frame the syllabus, we are supposed to contribute in paper setting, we are supposed to check the paper, evaluate the paper, we are supposed to moderate the paper. ये सारे रोल हमें निभाने हैं as a teacher in the university structure. नेचुरली हम जब पेपर सेट करते तो कई टीचर मैंने देखे हैं तो वो एक अपनी इज्जत दाव पे लगा देते. उनको लगता है कि मैंने पेपर सेट किया, किसी को नहीं आना चाहिए, पूरे लड़के लुढ़क जाना चाहिए, एक टेरर आना चाहिए बच्चों में, वाह आपने क्या कितना डिफिकल्ट पेपर सेट किया. देखिए पेपर सेटिंग में ऑब्जेक्टिव बहुत क्लियर होना चाहिए. टीचर इज ऑलरेडी मैच्योर, ओवर क्वालिफाइड एंड कॉम्पिटेंट देन द स्टूडेंट, सो ही नीड नॉट कंपेयर हिज क्वालिटीज विद दैट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट. Students are in the learning phase, so they are supposed to know lesser than the teacher, so they are supposed to be low at all the qualities which a teacher can boast of. There is no competition between teacher and student. Here what we are supposed to test, whatever we have taught to them in a semester, to what extent they have understood is to be tested in the examination. So examination is of how much they have learned during the passage. It is not comparing the knowledge of the teacher, or is not comparing the intelligence, talent, IQ and the ability to learn by the teacher. It is ability to learn by the student is to be tested. तो क्या होना चाहिए व्यू? ऐसा कहते हैं कि average student should get a first class, should be the standard of the paper setting, including the choices. जैसे आपका चॉइस 10 में से 6 है या 8 में से 5 है या 5 में से 3 है, वॉट रेट में भी वो चॉइस अगर बच्चे को दिया तो एक एवरेज स्टूडेंट जो रहेगा क्लास का, ही मस्ट बी एबल टू गेट ए फर्स्ट क्लास. एवरेज स्टूडेंट शुड बी एबल टू गेट फर्स्ट क्लास. और मेरे हिसाब से अगर मैं एक एजुकेटर करके मेरी बात आप मानोगे तो मेरे हिसाब से all the students those who have sincerely attended the classes throughout the year must pass in every examination. Examination should not be that tough that student in spite of attending sincerely the entire year's teaching he should fail. What we are proving, we are trying to fail ourselves, that in spite of having full year to teach a fellow, we were not able to raise him to the level where he can pass it. We can say ना students कच्चे हैं करके, no student कच्चे तो उनको admission क्यों दिया? सवाल है कि when we give admission we say that they are entitled to take admission and we have full year with us, we teach them, they learn also sincerely throughout the year and it's our responsibility that they should pass completely. However, if the students are insincere, that they have not attended our classes, they have not attended the college, they have not taken interest in the studies, they have not done studied at home also, insincere student will only fail. System should be such, the difficultness of the paper should be such that average student must get first class, brilliant student can get distinction class and 90% and whatnot, or the poorest student, the weakest student but sincere, he has attended the classes throughout the year. A sincere student, even though he is weakest, must get above 40% marks. He must pass. Is the responsibility of the teacher, is the responsibility of university, is the responsibility of everybody. We cannot be cruel with the student that we should fail them in spite of attending the year-long classes. Who should fail them? You will say that, sir, then what you are saying, the result should be 100%, nobody should fail. No, it's not like that. Insincere student, those who take education casually, those who are not serious about education, those who are not serious about themselves, those who are not putting their efforts into education, they deserve to be failed. And a message we can give that unless you are sincere, unless you study, unless you are committed, you will not pass. That means education is ensuring the passion of the student, the interest of the student in education also. But a sincere student must pass is my proposition. If sincere student is failing, I will say that he is not failed. The education system has failed to give him education in an entire year to the level which is minimum accepted by them. If we are not able to elevate him to that level, then perhaps something wrong in setting the level or something wrong in giving admission to the student who is not deserving to take admission. Now, this is the responsibility of a teacher as a paper setter. Then as a moderator, we must not have too much difference in last year's examination and this year examination. Students should not feel the difficultness of this year paper was far more as compared to the last year paper. That means we are not there to catch the students at wrong feet. We are supposed to set a trend, and therefore moderation should be such that average of the last 4 years should be extended as the 5th year. At the same time, students should not be able to predict the paper. The moderation should be such, at least 20% questions you should put in such a way that those should be new to the student. Because what happens, the next year batch student refers to the previous year paper. Now when they refer to the paper, they will happen to know those 20% new component. And what will happen? They will learn those 20% new component. So what we are doing, we are prompting them, provoking them to learn 20% new component. And that is the purpose of education, to prompt them to learn something more and new. So the question paper should be such that every new batch coming in should be prompted to learn something more than the previous batch. And therefore 20% component of new questions should be there. However, the possibility should be such that students should be able to keep those 20% questions in option. So what has happened? In the summer we have given the examination. Difficult question 20% we asked. All the students kept those questions in option. So you may see that, you may say that, what is the use of keeping those questions in the paper? But I differ. Those questions are not for the student, those who are appearing in the summer exam. Those questions are for the student in the subsequent examination, where they will refer those previous paper. अरे ये पिछली बार परीक्षा में आया था, so I must learn and I must study and make myself ready for that. तो अल्टीमेटली क्या हो गया, नई बैच उस चीज को रेडी हो जाएंगी और पुराने बैच का नुकसान कुछ नहीं हुआ, because they were able to keep those question in option. So typically we should not make the student learn by having some loss, but without making loss of the student, a component of newness should be brought into teaching. So while syllabus framing also, we should give a scope of syllabus in such a way there should be a provision for learning new thing. If we have same syllabus for 10 years, what will happen? Student will get frustrated. So keep a component of 10 to 20% in syllabus of latest trend, latest cutting edge technologies, latest thing which are coming in market. We should allow them to learn, and students can go for that. So as a university teacher, we are supposed to go for paper setting. What should be the norm for paper setting? Average student should get first class. Brilliant student can get distinction and merit and 90%. Sincere student, even though weakest, should be able to pass. Failure should be only non-sincere student, those who refuse to do hard work or might have taken the studies casually. That will give a different signal and message to the batches to come, and people will believe in sincerity, and attendance in the college will also increase, because attending college also gives you professionalism, also gives you sincerity, also gives you commitment, also have a habit of working hard. Bunking the classes and college will make you idle and lazy, and you will be of no use to the society. You may not be able to work at all. So inculcating the habit of hard working is also the purpose of education, ingredient of education. And therefore, knowingly or unknowingly, we should inculcate all these ingredients of education in them as a paper setter, as a moderator, as a framer of the syllabus, as a role of a teacher in the university. Role of a teacher in the research also is to be considered. What is research? Research is basically what is known to many people. Try to know little bit more than that and try to make other people aware of it. That means you are supposed to discover something new every time. So a component of creativity and innovation has to be there. How we know that whatever we are doing is going to lead to a new thing? So what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to do literature survey. Means what is literature survey? What others have done up till now, we should not repeat it, and we should not do redundant thing. So what others have done, we should understand, and what they left and what they are yet to do, that we should pick up as a research topic and continue the research. Now, students of graduation level need not go into any serious research. However, the temperament should be inculcated in them. That sort of inquisitiveness should be inculcated in them. So, a role of a teacher, I'll go back to my second slide. I'll go back. Look, sorry. Yeah. Now look at it. Understanding roles and responsibilities of a faculty in the university structure. Now, what are the roles? I discussed with you the role as a paper setter. I have discussed role as a moderator, I have discussed role as a syllabus for framing the syllabus. What should be the norms which are to be kept? Okay. Then roles and responsibilities of a teacher in teaching, research, and support to the local community. Teaching, we have already considered so many ingredients of the teaching are there which are not visible, which are not formally taught to the student by timetable and other thing. However, those are the only things on which the student is being evaluated at the end of graduation. And even a degree of a university is compared with the degree of other university based on whether these components and ingredients of education are being inculcated in the students or not. Every student, like now in the new education policy, they have divided this into two parts. One part is a teaching university. That university will focus mainly in the teaching, marginally in research. And some universities will be mainly research universities. So those who will handle the PG and PhD program, and they will mainly focus in the research, they will marginally get involved in teaching. Now this differentiation was needed because a person at the same time cannot be intense in teaching as well as research. It becomes a bit difficult. And with the NAC and the new norms which we are coming, support to the local community is very important. Like our work and our research should not be at that level which may be recognized at world level. However, with our education, the local community should be benefited at large. Now this should be our role. We should see to it that the community is benefited. Now I would like to keep 15-20 minutes for the interaction and question answer, because this is the topic which is everybody can have a different opinion. I don't say that you should accept my opinion. I don't insist that my advice should be accepted as toto, but then everybody can have different opinion, and I want to witness this particular opinion, and I want the entire audience to witness opinions of different mature people, those who are present in the as a participant. I'll come to my last slide. Okay. भो दारिद्र्य नमस्तुभ्यम सिद्धोहम तत्प्रसादता पश्याम्यहम जगत सर्वम नमाम पश्यति कश्चन। क्या कहा है संस्कृत सुभाषित में? भो दारिद्र्य, हे दारिद्र्य, नमस्तुभ्यम, नमस्तुभ्यम मतलब मैं तुम्हें नमस्कार करता हूं, हे गरीबी मैं तुम्हें नमस्कार करता हूं। भो दारिद्र्य नमस्तुभ्यम सिद्ध अहम त्वत्प्रसादता, सिद्धो हम त्वत्प्रसादता मतलब मैं तुम्हारे प्रसाद के लिए सिद्ध हूं। अब दारिद्र्य जो है, गरीबी है, उसका प्रसाद क्या रहेगा? गरीबी। तो ये दारिद्र्य का प्रसाद जो गरीबी है, इसके लिए मैं सिद्ध हूं। ऐसा क्यों कह रहा है सुभाषितकार? इसलिए कह रहा है, कहता है पश्याम में हम जगत सर्वम। पश्य मतलब देखना, मैं सारे जगत को देख सकता हूं। नमाम पश्यति कश्चन, मुझे कोई नहीं देख सकता। कहने का मतलब है मुझे कोई देखने योग्य समझता नहीं है, इग्नोर कर देता है। तो वाकई में दुनिया मुझे देख नहीं रही है, तो दुनिया के नजर में मैं नहीं हूं, लेकिन मैं सारी दुनिया को देख सक रहा हूं। इसे आप इंफेरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स की तरफ ना देखें। आज टीचर ने स्ट्राइक किया तो दुनिया क्या करती है? करने दो टीचर को स्ट्राइक, क्या फर्क पड़ता? 15 दिन कॉलेज नहीं चलेगा तो कौन सी पहाड़ गिर जाएगा? 6 महीने कॉलेज नहीं चलेगा तो कौन सा पहाड़ गिर जाएगा? मतलब टीचिंग एंड टीचिंग प्रोफेशन एंड टीचर आर कंसिडर्ड सो negligible entities in the community that they are ignoring them and therefore they are not able to see them. So पश्याम में हम जगत सर्वम, टीचर तो सारी दुनिया को देख सक रहा है, लेकिन टीचर को कोई नहीं देख सक रहा, मतलब देखने योग्य नहीं समझ रहा, इसलिए देख के भी अनदेखा कर रहा है। इसका क्या मतलब है समझ रहे हैं आप? आज क्लासेस में, कॉलेज में टीचर क्या क्या कर रहा है, ये दुनिया देख नहीं रही, देखने योग्य नहीं समझ रही है, अनदेखा कर रही है, इग्नोर कर रही है। तो क्लास में, कॉलेज में हम क्या पढ़ाते हैं, इसके ऊपर समाज का ध्यान नहीं है। दोस्तों, पूरे समाज का रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग हम लोग कर सकते हैं। वी कैन ब्रिंग दिस सोशल ट्रांसफॉर्म। व्हाई? बिकॉज व्हेन वी ट्राई टू मेक सोशल ट्रांसफॉर्म, पीपल विल नॉट ऑब्जेक्ट। व्हाई दे डोंट ऑब्जेक्ट? बिकॉज दे इग्नोर अस. They think teachers cannot do anything. So whatever we teach and preach in the class and college, nobody is having the attention. But you find all the powerful people, rich people, the political people, all influential people in the society, they have to send their children to college and schools only, and they have to be taught by teachers like you and me only. And therefore what will happen? All these people, those who are likely to be influential in the future, are required to take input from us. Suppose we give proper input to them, they can constitute a society which is worth staying in as compared to the current society. We can bring social reforms, we can make social restructuring, like Arya Chanakya brought complete restructuring, which is not only social restructuring, he could bring the political restructuring also. Why Chanakya was allowed to do all these things? Because people at large ignored him. What he can do? He's a simple teacher, so people allowed him as his all activities, ignored it, but then his activity resulted in changing, turning the table, and then a king was thrown and Chandragupta Maurya was sworn in. Typically, we can make the restructuring of the society, rebuilding of the society, and therefore we can always go for it. It is being said that यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम अधर्मस्य आत्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे। भगवान ने कहा है कि धर्म की संस्थापना के लिए मैं हर युग में संभव करता हूं, मैं बार बार अवतार लूंगा। लेकिन भगवान ने यह भी कहा है, महाभारत में आपने देखा होगा, शिशुपाल की मां को उन्होंने वचन दिया था कि 100 गुना होने तक इसको मैं माफ करूंगा। इसका मतलब 1 से लेकर 99 गुना होने तक भगवान अनदेखा करेंगे और 100 गुना होने के बाद में सुदर्शन चक्र चलेगा। भगवान का अवतार तभी होता है जब अन्याय का अतिरेक होता है। यदा यदा ही धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत, धर्म को ग्लानि आ गई, मतलब गहरी नींद आ गई और अधर्म फैल गया, तो भगवान अवतार लेते हैं। लेकिन भगवान 100 अपराध होने तक कुछ करते नहीं है, देखते रहते हैं, और 1 से 99 अपराध होने तक आप और हमको ही देखना है। अच्छे समाज की निर्मिति आप और हमको ही करना है। एंड देयरफॉर भगवान की इस प्रक्रिया में हमको भी भगवान का रोल अदा करना है, भगवान का पूरा अवतार आने तक। राम का अवतार और कृष्ण का अवतार, इसके बीच में कितने कितने साल गुजर गए, 2 अवतार के बीच में, जहां अन्याय होता गया होता गया होता गया। अन्याय का जब अतिरेक हुआ तो कृष्ण आए। ऐसे कोई भी 2 अवतार के बीच में जो जगह होती है, वहां हम मानव रूपी जिनके अंदर भगवान का अंश है, हमें जिम्मेदारी सौंपी है कि हम धर्म की स्थापना करें। धर्म क्या होता है दोस्तों? धर्म ने हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई ने धर्म की परिभाषा की है, साधारी इति धर्मा, जो एक हेल्दी सोसाइटी, एक स्वस्थ समाज की धारणा करता है। द सेट ऑफ रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस व्हिच कैन अपहोल्ड अ हेल्दी सोसाइटी इज कॉल्ड एज धर्म। इस धर्म की परिभाषा हमें करनी है। भगवान के अवतार के पहले 1 से 99 अपराध होने तक ये धर्म की परिभाषा हमें करनी है। एक स्वस्थ समाज की निर्मिति और स्वस्थ समाज चलना है, उसके लिए लगने वाले नियम जो बताना है, रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन, उस हमको तय करना है। तो धर्म की परिभाषा करने का काम भी टीचर की तरफ है। टीचर ने अपना रोल छोटा करके नहीं रहना है, टीचर का रोल बहुत बड़ा है। द रोल ऑफ द टीचर फ्रॉम यूनिवर्सिटी पर्सपेक्टिव, द रोल ऑफ टीचर फ्रॉम रिसर्च पर्सपेक्टिव, द रोल ऑफ टीचर फ्रॉम टीचिंग पर्सपेक्टिव, एंड द रोल ऑफ टीचर फ्रॉम द community upliftment, the people at around us, we should uplift them. Friends, we have a big role, though the social expectation from us are negligible. Social respect and honor to the teacher is relatively negligible, but then that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity, and we can definitely take the society and define the new dharma to the society. The new rules and regulation can be defined by us, and we can be instrumental in restructuring of the society. Thank you very much. I really thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity, for sharing with you my views. However, the session won't be complete unless we go for a very, very healthy and interactive question answer session. So I appeal all of you to proceed for the question answer. I would like to make thing open for question answer.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, participants, if you have any questions, please ask. आपको कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछना है सर को। बहुत ही सुंदर सर के लेक्चर्स होते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर ब्यूटिफुली प्लेसिंग द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, रोल्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज ऑफ टीचर्स. हा यस, काही विचारायचं असेल तर विचारा.
हा, प्रश्न कोणाचे असतील तर विचारा.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, myself, Gautam Kumar. I am having only one question, sir, which is related to the student point of view.
Okay.
How we can able to maintain the student decorum in a disciplined way, sir? Is there any mechanism such that we can able to adapt?
No, look here. Understand. Look here. Why a youth who is bubbling with energy should remain disciplined?
Yes, sir.
They should not. Are you getting it? What we are supposed to do, instead of trimming and dampening their energy under the pretext of discipline, we are supposed to channelize their energy. If we are able to channelize their energy, where is the question of putting them in discipline? We simply channelize means we simply try to control the way in which they ventilate, and we allow them to ventilate. Suppose we stop them from ventilating, what will happen? They will bounce back and they will cause indiscipline in the institute. Secondly, when we go for any lecturing, they should feel benefited at the end of lecture beyond attendance. Currently,
Yes.
most of the students, they come out of the class thinking that attendance lag gayi aaj ki. That means beyond attendance, they don't find they are enriched by the class. Now that should not be there, because that basically removes the entire luster of the education. Beyond that, they should be benefited.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello.
Right.
Hello.
All right. Continue.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, actually, I just wanted to ask, like you said, that is, at the end of the lecture, the student must get benefited. Okay.
Sure.
Can you point out some new strategies by which, the students can be, they can be some any kind of new strategies by which we can.
No, I'll suggest one mechanism.
Because,
Like
we
at the
have
beginning of year,
very common
what we are
strategies.
going to do in this period,
Yeah.
what is the outcome of this period? In the initial 3 minutes, we should be able to tell that, okay, friends, we are going to churn on this particular topic today. At the end of the session, all of us should be able to answer this question. That means we should set the expectation at the beginning of the period. By that, what happens? They remain serious throughout the period because they know that they are supposed to answer something at the end of the period. And in the last 5 minutes, ask some small, very easy questions to the audience, which they are able to answer, right? Most of them are able to answer. Like my philosophy is, average student should be able to get first class. So when we teach, the average student in the class should be able to answer more than 6 questions out of 10 which we ask. Either question should be such simple, and we should raise their level to that at least. This
Yes,
could be one
sir.
of the strategy for any
Yeah,
period.
that's true. I agree with you. So, but what is the problem over here? That is, like we are teaching in a senior college, right? And majority of the students, like our syllabus is such that there is most of the undergraduate, I'll say that is which are below the graduate level. Most of the students, they already know those things. And again, if you are
Yeah.
going to ask them those things, so they are having a kind of mentality, okay, ये तो सब हमको आता है, कोई problem नहीं. And as you ask them any kind of
No, you are talking about the PG students?
we are talking about the UG as well as the PG students, sir.
No, for PG student, a better and higher level of maturity is expected, and they need not bother about the spoon feeding by the teacher. So their perspective should be different. If we are able to set the perspective at the beginning of the academic year, they will allow us to teach throughout the academic year.
Yeah, for
As far as
example,
UG student is concerned,
yeah.
hello. As
For
far as UG
example,
student
sir,
is concerned,
yes.
they want something beyond information. Nowadays, what is happening? Information is at the fingertips on the Google, and the same information they listen from teacher. They don't feel anything new. They feel
Exactly.
absolutely boring, or they think that even if I would have remained absent, I could have got this information from the Google. Can
Exactly.
we go for some sort of analysis in the class, opinion expression in the class, ifs and buts in the class? Like when we are assembling collectively, a student studying at home cannot have 60 students around him. This is available only in the college. So can we make use of this system where 60 opinions can be heard and listened, and we can share and exchange the opinions? Information is available in a factual way at Google. For that, you don't require any sharing. For opinion, we require sharing. So if we use this platform specifically where the self-study cannot replace this, then people will be more interested in attending college.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, very good afternoon. This is Dr. Saurabh Jogaikar. I must appreciate the talk was very nice, sir. I wanted to ask, sir, as you rightly said that for a teacher there are different roles. One for research objectives are different, teaching objectives are different.
As a university
and I
teacher
think
also
most of the participants would agree here with me that in the phase in which we are, we tend to lack in one of the two departments. Either we are very good at research, then our teaching objectives are not met, or if I concentrate more on my teaching objectives, how effectively I can deliver my session, my research is hampered. And
Correct.
in both the cases, a faculty is graded according to his research prowess, right? So,
Yeah.
and seldom we see that how effectively a teacher is delivering his session is not taken into consideration for his appraisals. So my question is, sir, how can we balance these both things so that there should be a win-win situation for the teacher as well, and the students and the society would also be benefited out of it?
Actually, this your expression and opinion is already taken care of in new education policy, because they got this feedback. What you say, the dilemma between teaching and research, what you say, they already received it. And now at a central level, they have decided to classify the institutes into two parts. One is research institute, other is teaching institute. In new education
Okay.
policy, suppose you go through the details, now they have understood this problem and they have tried to address this problem. Because what used to happen at the apex institution like IITs and NITs, that good institution, most of them are having research framework. When American universities you talk
Exactly.
about, they are having research framework. Therefore, how to measure the effectivity of a teacher, all the forms and formats are made where the more weightage is given to research. And it is injustice on a good teacher. A teacher who is able to perform nice in class doesn't have any research contribution, and his promotion is being denied. And a person who is having very nice paper qualification and very good research paper to his credit is maybe thorough failure in a classroom teaching, and students are not benefited by his teaching at all. Therefore, these two things people can be put into two different categories. A research institute is that institute where only research is carried out, and at most PG and PhD students will be there, those who are mainly doing research. But undergraduate courses mainly are done in teaching institute. So that type of division they are suggesting in new education policy. So I think your feedback is already taken care of at national level, and they have tried to address it.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Right.
I have a question. Myself, Krupa
Please.
from Mumbai. Sir?
Yeah, Krupa Shah.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Be
at a
loud,
larger
please.
perspective, yeah, sir, at a larger perspective, uh, when I have done my B.Ed also and I'm trying to appear my NETSET exam, which I'm not able to clear at all. So, I would like to understand one thing, as you said, as a paper setter. So there, when we are appearing for NETSET exams and all, we also become a student. So if we go through the NETSET exam papers and all, so there is no consistency, there is no, it's a larger perspective, and it is again to stress more on upon, there is no application of teaching methodology, but it is only the parting of knowledge and information, as you said so. So if we are at a university level, that is one of the aspect of eligibility. So what I would like to ask is, sir, is it NETSET more appropriate, eligibility, or doing a B.Ed which polishes your teaching skills and gives you a more better, competent to be a teacher? So I just want to ask you, what would be better in the system rather than this? It is a larger perspective I'm talking about. So
Actually,
your
we are on the
views and
verge of getting transformed from one type of system to other. Like when industries are saying that only 10%, 15% graduates are employable. What do you mean by this? We have inculcated education. We have taught them everything. We have examined also everything, continuous evaluation, term and evaluation, mid-sem examination, then university conduct the term and examination, and we are satisfied, and we say that this fellow has got 78% marks. You understand? So from our point of view, we say this is the best student, and industry says that he doesn't know anything. So what is the mismatch? Mismatch is that the way in which and on the grounds on which we evaluate a person and teach them is different. We try to teach them information. We try to examine whether they are properly able to retrieve the information or not. And if they are able to retrieve the information, they are able to write the answers of the question, and we give 78%, 80% marks to them. Industry says that whatever information you know, we are not bothered. Can you apply that information to the real life problem? Now, the application of information to real life problem is not taught in current education, and therefore industry say it's irrelevant. Do you know the other part of it? Industry say that current university education is useless. But don't get discouraged by that. Same industry is recruiting from among the same useless education the graduates. Industry is giving them 6 month training. In that training, what they give, they try to teach them how to apply the information you already have and make them useful. And after 6 month training, industry uses them. Though industry call them absolutely useless, they are not absolutely useless, but they are not taught the application part of it. Now, what industry expects now, during graduation itself, why don't you teach application? Why you are asking us to teach them after the employment? Because when the industry employs a person, industry has to pay him monthly salary. So industry has to pay him also and teach him also. So double responsibility. Industry want that colleges should teach him application part of it. You rightly pointed out the application part is missing in our education, and in examination also it is missing. While as you say net set, the exam pattern is unable to check exactly what is exhibited, what is expected out of a person passing net set. Are we judging his knowledge? Are we judging his application? Are we judging his suitability as a teacher? The clarity is not there. And therefore, the way in which a person who is clearly past net set, can you guarantee that he will be a good teacher? No. For being a good teacher, different criteria is there. But we say that prerequisite is not net set. Questions asked in net sets are different. That means we try to ask something, we try to expect a person to be net set, and we want he should perform as a good teacher. Now, we must check his teaching skill also, because 60 students are basically benefited by his teaching skill, not at his in-depth knowledge in a specific pinpointed domain, in a net set, or even though in PhD. Students are not interested in the in-depth knowledge of a teacher. Students say that whatever knowledge you have, maybe not in-depth, maybe peripheral, can you give that knowledge to us? Are we able to understand what you know? Students are more interested in that. Students are not interested in what depth you know. A teacher may know the syllabus, that is adequate for them. Teacher might not have done PG as well as PhD. This is absolutely acceptable to student. For whatever undergraduate subject teacher is teaching, teacher must have learned and understood that subject, and he should be able to communicate that subject to the student is the expectation of student, not his knowledge in the PG and PhD level. So I think some mismatch is there in the current system and expectation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. Hello,
Right.
this is Aruna Shinde.
Right.
Sir,
Continue.
I want your help or some suggestion for your point of view. What is the active role of teachers for very rural area? Because sir, communication skill is very far from them, but they don't know what is the diet of education. Then how can
Yeah.
they become a for healthy
Now,
in
typically,
education?
whatever are the ingredients of education which I listed out, all of them
Yes,
are
sir.
required for urban as well as rural. Suppose some urban people
Yeah.
are very good in communication skill, they are able to speak nicely, but they don't know what is to be said. Like communication has three components. Your thought process should have a specific thought in your mind. Then you should be able to express in the mother tongue, and then you should be able to express in English. The urban people might have very good English, but they don't have, like for example, should we have the reservation for the women? Now I am able to speak English very nicely, but I don't know what point I should make it over here. Then can I communicate? Maybe a rural fellow may have a good opinion, a very good thought process with him. He is able to express in mother tongue, say Marathi, but he is not able to express in English. He is not able to express in English is not a big curse. So rural people may be intelligent, may be having very good opinion, may be very mature, having lot many ingredients of education except English language. But that can be learned later on. So I think plus
Yeah,
and
but sir,
minuses are all there in every student.
sir, one more for increasing the education interest in education for rural areas.
Right.
What can we do as a teacher for them?
Now, the usefulness of education should be illustrated to them. Problem is current education, they have seen is not useful. Now, if you do a particular graduation, there is no guarantee that you get a job. and people feel that education is not leading to any benefit, and therefore they lose interest in education. Suppose you have education which leads into some sort of benefit, people chase it. People simply chase it. Those who refuse to attend a college and junior college and schools, they attend the tuition class at early morning 5 o'clock, because they know if they go there, they can have good score and they can get admission into good college of their choice. And for that, they are ready to wake up early in the morning at 4 o'clock and join that class at 5 o'clock. Students are definitely interested if they think and they are convinced that this is going to benefit them. So I always appeal all the teachers at the beginning of academic year, initial 2-3 periods you spend on how the students will be benefited by your interaction throughout the year, how you are going to enrich them. So you try to imbibe in their mind that your presence, your classes, your interaction with them is going to elevate them, enrich them at the end of the year. Now, if you are able to convince them in initial 2-3 periods, they will attend your all periods.
Yeah, sir. Definitely I can do, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for informative lecture, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
No more
Rekha
questions.
madam, can I log off?
Just a minute, sir.
Please.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. I think there are no questions now. On behalf of UGC Human Resource Development Center, I thank you, sir, for your excellent lecture. It was a motivational lecture. सर अभी अपना वो वाला गेम हुआ नहीं जो आप वर्ड वाला बताते आप कैसे याद रखना, एक थोड़ा सब लोग सुन लेते थे 2 मिनट के लिए, बोलिए ना सर, करिए.
नहीं, मेमोरी में तो कर सकते हैं, वी कैन डू लॉट ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट. बेसिकली क्या होता है
1 मिनट के लिए वो जो हमेशा ये वाला करते हैं ना, कुछ वर्ड्स का हर एक को इंटरएक्ट ये करके इंटर रिलेट करके कैसे याद रखना है, बस वो 2 मिनट का कर लीजिए.
It will take a lot of time, madam, but then still I can tell you to all the participants, I can tell one Sanskrit Subhashit, which is perhaps they are learning for the first time, but they will remember most of it if they learn with a technique. If they learn with a technique, they can learn most of it. Like for example, I'll just share one Sanskrit Subhashit with you. घृष्टम घृष्टम पुनरपि घृष्टम चंदनम चारुगंधम छिन्नम छिन्नम पुनरपि छिन्नम स्वादुचैवेक्षुकांडम दग्धम दग्धम पुनरपि दग्धम कांचनम कांतवर्णम प्राणान्ते अपि प्रकृति विकृति न जायते उत्तमानम. अब ये संस्कृत सुभाषित में आप देखेंगे तो इसकी मात्रा वृत्त में है, ये मात्रा रहती है, मतलब वो उसका डिवीजन करेगा हर एक लाइन का, तो ख्याल रखने में, मेमोराइज करने में सिंपल जाता है. घृष्टम घृष्टम पुनरपि घृष्टम, ये एक साइड में हो गया. चंदनम चारुगंधम, छिन्नम छिन्नम पुनरपि छिन्नम स्वादुचै वेक्षुकांडम, दग्धम दग्धम पुनरपि दग्धम कांचनम कांतवर्णम. ये तीनों लाइन पूरी रिदम में मात्रा के साथ में है. अगर आप ऐसा ख्याल रखोगे तो रिकॉल करना इज रिलेटिवली इजी. लास्ट लाइन समरी की ये मात्रा तोड़ देती है तो याद रखने में कितना दिक्कत जाती है. देखो, प्राणांते अपि प्रकृति विकृति न जायते उत्तमानम, ये तीसरी लाइन मात्रा के साथ नहीं है तो याद रखने में दिक्कत जाती है. If you are able to break any information, any knowledge, anything into rhythm, it is easy to remember. And when the things are not in rhythm, to remember 3 lines, you require X efforts. But to remember the last line, you may require same X effort. It is 1 line and earlier 3 lines are there. You can practice it, you can make it out, you'll find how to go about it. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. Very nice tips.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so
much, sir.
Thank you so much for your excellent lecture, sir. Very informative lecture. आज participants ने अपने आप को एक टीचर करके, एक डॉक्टर करके और एक कस्टमर करके स्टूडेंट को समझ के पूरे लेक्चर को समझ लिया आज. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. On behalf of UGC Human Resource Development Center, I thank you for today's session. Sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir. Right.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
देखिए FIP3 जो है, FIP3 के पार्टिसिपेंट्स ज्वाइन रहेंगे. FIP4 के पार्टिसिपेंट जा सकते हैं. FIP4 के पार्टिसिपेंट दे कैन लीव द मीटिंग.
Okay, ma'am.
FIP
Thank you.
4, FIP 4 can leave the meeting.
Okay, ma'am.
हेलो मैडम
जी।
मैडम मैं FIP 4 में हूँ कल के लिए लिंक अलग आएगी क्या मैडम कि वही लिंक पे करना पड़ेगा
नहीं, मैं सुबह भेजूंगी ना, लिंक भेजूंगी।
ओके ओके थैंक यू मैडम गुड डे
एक लिंक रहेगी जो दिन भर काम करेगी, एक ही लिंक सुबह से लेके पूरे दोपहर
हाँ।
तक एक ही लिंक रहेगी, रोज एक नई लिंक रहेगी।
ओके थैंक यू मैडम थैंक यू
FIP 3 सिर्फ रहेंगे, FIP 4 चले जाएंगे। FIP 4 प्लीज लीव। FIP 4 please leave.
हेलो मैडम, क्वेश्चन था मैडम। हेलो
हाँ बोलिए।
हाँ मैडम, मुझे ये पता नहीं था मैं FIP 3 पे हूँ या 4 में हूँ, तो मुझे थोड़ा उसका आंसर चाहिए था मैम। डॉक्टर रितिश नाइक।
नहीं, वो तो आपको प्रीति मैडम ही बताएंगे, उनके पास में लिस्ट है। कल
ओके
आपने
ओके।
कौन सा ज्वाइन नहीं किए थे क्या?
कल ज्वाइन किया था मैम मैं।
प्रीति मैडम का सेशन ज्वाइन नहीं किए थे?
नहीं मैम, प्रीति मैडम का नहीं ज्वाइन हुआ था, सिर्फ आपका ही हुआ था।
अच्छा, फिर आप मेरे
हाँ
उसमें
हाँ
होंगे।
जी मैम, थैंक यू मैम।
Excuse me, ma'am, there's a slight confusion. Actually, I'm not aware, like, I'm in which FIP, 3 or 4? वो मैम mentioned कहाँ पे है?
आपने सुबह का कल का सेशन प्रीति मैडम का अटेंड किए थे क्या?
हेलो बैनर्जी, भट्टाचार्य मैम, यू आर इन FIP 3. You are in FIP
Okay,
1.
actually मैं वही सोच रही थी. I was wondering in where is it mentioned FIP 3? Because I don't have that. I did not see the selection list also.
No, no, remaining
Is there any
participants
list
left the meeting.
updated?
FIP 4 participants meeting में left कर दी है अभी. आप FIP 3 में हैं.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
मैडम रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कर दो, प्रीति मैडम रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कर दीजिए।
Yes, yes.